Well, would you like to learn what they did on AEW this past Wednesday briefly?
No, please. No. No,
Well,
Professor.
we're gonna just run through a bit of it. There's a couple things I'm going to comment on, and otherwise, again, I'm in the malaise like I am with the WWE. It's even harder to watch the WWE because the regular television programs are longer, and on the streaming, as we know, it's harder to skip through things. But now apparently AEW, and this was July 16th, they've landed in Chicago for their residency at the Aragon Ballroom. And I got to be honest with you, it actually looked better. It's a smaller crowd, but it's a loud crowd. They can get some good shots because the room is kind of picturesque. You can't tell there's nobody there like you could when they were in the bigger buildings or just the nondescript, empty exhibition hall kind of buildings. But they're going to do like 8 shows over the next 3 weeks or whatever in this building in Chicago. Shouldn't they have, before they booked 8 shows in a row in Chicago, thought, well, I guess we shouldn't have run Punk off? He could have goddamn turned him away from all of these shows.
I have to say, it looked cool, right? I know it was kind of a mental block to go to the smaller buildings, and eventually they did, and it's been hit or miss, but I think it looked really cool. It looked different. You wanted it to look different to WWE, not like you're trying to, have that kind of production when you can't. And I thought it looked really cool.
The only thing they missed was giving everybody a special Al's #1 Chicago Italian beef. I think that would have made the experience. But here's my problem. That's why I was kind of burnt on this show. Nothing has changed. After that marathon pay-per-view, at least we'll get rid of Dick the Boozer as world champion, or we'll get rid of the goddamn EVP bullshit or whatever. Well, the same people are on the show doing the same things. It's just they moved them into a different position. And Adam Page was first out, the new world champion, going to do a live interview. They made sure to mention the new world champion. He's in a 6-man tag team match tonight. And he gets in the ring. Tony Schiavone hands him the microphone and just wanders off. What a fucking great interview. Barbara Walters, move over. And Page does the same thing that he always does. He's memorized a very verbose statement with a lot of eloquent, meaningful things that he memorizes and delivers with the fake tough guy voice and face. And nobody really talks like that, and he sounds like a douchebag.
It's the pandering too. The pandering to the audience that actually I find.
Well, that's the thing is nobody go, yes, you deserve it. When they're chanting, you deserve it. No, you deserve it. Okay, he's a babyface. That's great. But then he never smiles. He goes through this statement. You are the ones who demanded a fully realized pro wrestling. What the fuck is that? That was a quote. What? You were the ones who demanded a fully realized pro wrestling. And then he said, a do-it-yourself pro wrestling. And I could buy that. It does look do-it-yourself. But why is he saying these things? He said, we do this all because of you. Now it's our fault.
You see, that's where it's both. We do this all for you. Tony should cut his salary then. That should be the next move.
Yeah.
You told me what your motivation is, buddy. Half off.
But that was the whole promo. He said nothing to set up nothing besides the over-flowery thank you to the fans and the rah-rah speech for AEW. Because we're the greatest company. And he thanked a lot of people. But he started, I want to thank Orange Cassidy. Where the fuck did that come from? It made no sense. I'm sure he did something a while back, and this guy's a friend of his, but goddamn, he thanked Orange Cassidy, Jay White, Edge, Shapoopy, Hobbs, Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin. Osprey. And then the fans chanted Swerve's house, and he had to thank Swerve.
Well, you know what that was? That was him running down the people that have tried to knock off Moxley since he won the belt. Wasn't Orange Cassidy one of the first?
I don't know or care, but this went for fucking ever. And then finally, he said, you know, I bled and I sweat, and yes, I cried it all in, and they say that makes me weak. Yeah, it does. You're a fucking weak pussy. No. But he says, they say that makes me weak, but I have a wife and 2 kids who love me and millions of fans. So he didn't actually say it didn't make him weak. He just said, I don't care if it makes me weak because I got a wife and 2 kids. The millions of fans, I think, was an exaggeration. And then he got bleeped for saying fuck, and it was over. I'm the fucking world champion. There's no, he doesn't, I see people saying, oh my God, he's connecting with the fans. And he doesn't connect with people verbally. Maybe these people, they're already connected. They're very easy to plug into. But if you're talking about a widespread audience, he's not a CM Punk. He's not a Drew McIntyre. He's not an MJF. If you're talking about this company verbally, he does the same shit and he sounds the same way. He has the same fucking look on his douchebaggy face, same fucking rotten haircut, does the same stupid shit in his matches.
Other than that, this looks like it'll be a successful title run.
Yes, yeah, it's going to be great. Kyle Felcher beat Masquerita Dorito in 11 minutes. So now they're doing the thing where the Hardley boys are being bullied and made fun of and talked down to because they're not EVPs anymore. And now everybody can say what they really think, like they couldn't to begin with, right? Renee Moxley Good made fun of them. And Marina Schaefer blew him off without speaking to him. And they found their locker room door and a guy was crossing out EVPs with a black Sharpie. But they can't even do this.
Yeah, why would they have the locker room then?
Well, but besides that, they're acting. And that's what it was, acting. They act because they're trying to be funny somehow. They amuse themselves, I guess. But they were trying to be funny with the bad acting. And so it's not even convincing that they're really upset or that anybody's doing anything to them. It's just bullshit, like in one of their little YouTube videos. And they tell Don Fallis, well, we're not going to join your family, but we might be friends. This is continuing. I thought they were writing them off the show. I foolishly hoped that they'd realize nobody wants to see these 2 fucking jack-offs. But no, they're going to continue it. They're just not EVPs anymore. So they're going to be phony in a lesser role. Because then they come out for their match with Josh Alexander and Chia. Isn't Josh Alexander a heel?
I thought he was part of the Callis
forgot.
stable, wasn't he?
Well, hold on. This is what I'm writing. I said they come out for a match with Chia, Josh Alexander. And I wrote, isn't Josh Alexander a heel? Then I realized it's an 8-man tag team match. I saw the other team come out. Then here come these 2 nitwits saying, okay, no, it's an 8-man, but they get a separate entrance where they don't get pyro. The video shows them getting beat up. And they get a phony ring announcement where the announcer is like, he doesn't care about it. So now these 4 have to go in an 8-man tag with Hong Kong Phooey, Bandito, Kevin Knight, and Brody King. Another 8-man tag. Why don't they try to set something up or get somebody over by having a straight tag team match? We forgot. Because they can't. The Hardley boys need multiple people to play with and bounce off of and alley-oop them up in the air. So everybody in the match finally hits somebody with everything while that Hollow-eyed, hairless, slack-jawed, imbecile Rick Knox just stood there and gaped at him. And they did some really phony shit and beat Bandito. And the heels beat the baby faces. I don't think they cheated. You can't really tell. They just kind of beat them. But that was 15 minutes. Are they not even smart enough to realize now they did a job on the pay-per-view? So now if they're going to still be on the program, they should come out and kind of get a win back in a tag match and do something to impress someone somehow.
Oh, that's the boring old way they used to do things, Grandpa. We do things differently. We don't rely on those old wrestling tropes, until everything doesn't work.
Well, it was at 9 o'clock now, Brian. Halfway through this son of a bitch. Edge came out, and the crowd sang to him, and he thanked the fans. We do this all for you. So now here, oh, God. Edge on the pay-per-view came out when Cage had been attacked by his own minions, Nick Plain and Nick Plain's mom and Pip Sabian, and they beat the shit out of Christian Cage after they had lost the tag team match. And Edge came out, ran the heels off, picked up Christian and said, go find yourself, which was not what Christian said to Edge, which was go fuck yourself back before. So now Edge says, I didn't come out to save Cage. Cage has made me miserable, done a bunch of rotten things to me, all because of jealousy. And I don't blame Nick and Pip for what they did. So now he's agreeing with the heels. You should have turned on my old partner. There's nothing untoward or out of the way about that. He said, I told you they'd do it. I told you so. I hope that Christian pulls his head out of his ass. But I came back to get FTR. Boy, this is a convoluted turn of somebody.
I think it's the babyface turn of Christian, if anyone's turning.
Well, but wouldn't he be mad at goddamn... Then the babyface turn needs to be he's mad at his former cohorts that turned on him and beat him up and left him laying there. But if Edge wants FTR and they're trying to get Christian and Edge back together, then doesn't Edge have to help Christian kick the shit out of Nick and Pip before Christian will help Edge kick the shit out of FTR?
I don't know if there's a order of events. It's just revenge, kind of like Kill Bill style. One by one, I will take you all down.
Edge is mad because FTR helped him get back in shape so that he could come back to wrestling, and then he came there and they formed Rated FTR, and then they started complaining. And they put me on a shelf for four months. Well, I've been doing this for 33 years. I don't have 4 months. Way to remind people that you're even older than you are. They don't know he started when he was 16 or whatever. They, goddamn, what is he, fucking 60? Then FTR's music plays, but FTR is not there. It's Stokeley and security guys. And Stokeley comes out and starts doing a promo. The problem is nobody would listen to him because now they've decided that it's fun for them to boo over Stokeley like they do over Dominic and they were doing for a while over Don. They ain't going to listen to him. They're going to boo over it. But Stokeley needs time to cut promos and he needs things to say and events to be constructed to where he's taken seriously because nobody takes him seriously. He's dressed in the fucking warm-up suit and he can talk and he's got some facial expressions, but he has never, ever been allowed to do anything that would seriously affect anything serious. He's never been the reason why somebody won a world championship or something important. He's never been presented as a legitimate top manager. And well, neither is Don. Don just does shit to look like a clown too and over funny everything. But FTR needs a fucking Heyman, not a goddamn Scatman Crothers. So then they don't listen to him. But it's probably a good thing because the message that he was delivering was he's gone and pulled strings. And if Edge attacks FTR, then he's fired. So let me get this straight. Everybody else in the company can just come out at random in the back, in the parking lot, in goddamn hotel rooms, in the ring, and just lay waste to whoever the fuck they want. But Stokeley's important enough that he made Tony Khan say, well, if Edge fucks with FTR, I'll just fire that fucking Edge. They just make rules when they want them. The rules where nobody can interfere in this kind of title match. And we'll have it on the show and everybody's like, well, you can't interfere in this match. And then you'll have a match in 2 segments where everybody interferes. Why couldn't you fucking stop them? Oh, it wasn't the right kind of title match. What the fuck? So nobody listened to Stokeley. Edge is fired if he attacks FTR. Edge didn't sell like he was upset, mad, or in any way offended by anything that Stokeley said. He got the fans to chant Oompa Loompa at him. He wasn't upset about the stipulation that he would be fired. He then booted security, threw them all out of the ring. Stokeley, for some reason, turned his back, I think to look for more security, who ran off. And then, instead of just jumping out of the goddamn ring and running away, when he saw that there was no security and he was in the ring with Edge alone, he did a funny take, turned around, saw Edge, and then ran toward Edge so Edge could spear him. And he speared him.
That's not how
music.
That's not how you would have handled it?
What the fuck? The first, if that had been laid out to me, the first thing I would have said was, okay, when Edge dumps all the security out of the ring and I turn around to fucking see that the security on the floor is running away, then if Edge is going to back up in the corner and milk that he's going to spear me, what is keeping me from leaving? Why would I turn around and be speared? That is the first thing that I would have asked. And to be perfectly honest, I would have suggested that maybe, just maybe, Edge fucking tosses these security guards out of the goddamn ring and boots the guy or whatever. And my other security guards, I wave them in and they run that way. And I say, yes, I've got him. And he ducks them and bumps them out. I turn around and go, oh shit. And start to leave. And he goddamn grabs the back of my jacket. And he flings me into the ring, where I goddamn get on my hands and knees like, oh God, don't do that. And as he grabs me, I try to pull out of the fucking jacket, and he pulls the jacket off and throws it. And as I stand up like, where'd my fucking coat go? Then he can goddamn spear me. And then you've got some movement going where I'm trying to escape the inevitable, and we're milking it to where it doesn't happen right away, but I don't look like an idiot for just standing there, and fake for just standing there and letting him do it. But that's just me. Anyway, do you have any comments on that thing we just talked about?
No, I'm with you. I agree with everything you just said, and the way you laid it out.
We're making time.
Made a lot of sense. That's right.
They had another 4-way match. The winner gets $100,000, which I guess is better than, what was it the other day? 4 million pesos or 400,000 yen or what?
I think it was like 6 million pesos or 4, some pesos for sure.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, Queen Wayayata and Thekla and Chris Statlander and Willow had a 4-way where they did stuff to each other until they were done. And in the end, Statlander and Willow fought off, and then Blue Sky came down to draw the referee. Julia Hart rolls in the ring and blows the mist in Queen Wayayata's face, and Thekla beat her 1, 2, 3.
Did you see the mist? Did you actually see how she did it?
How did I saw that she blew it and I saw it landed on the face, but I didn't
There was like no cloud
catch
of anything.
exactly.
It was just like she spit it in her face.
Just like a clump.
Yeah,
right?
but it was, yeah, with Muda, like there would be like a mist. Like you would like, ooh, something happened there. This, it was just like a direct shot. Like boom, right to the face.
Well, remember last time she missed completely. So I guess this time she just went it straight to the Toni Storm did an interview in one of the opera boxes. She would be a tremendous actress on some type of television show. Maybe she could be the center square on the Hollywood Squares. She's entertaining. You can't believe some of the sexual double entendre that gets thrown out and is allowed on network television. Thankfully, no children are watching. They're just participating in the show. But I got to say, if AEW is a parody of pro wrestling, which it is, she's the best at it. This is entertaining in some fashion. I'm almost willing to say that if this was a legitimate, straightforward wrestling promotion and she was doing the same shit and where it stood out as she's the only crazy nut and not just it's constant, I think I'd like it. But on a show that's already a goddamn glorified Saturday Night Live sketch, isn't this just too far, too much, too ridiculous? It never, you don't have comedy relief in a serious program with them. You every once in a while get some element of seriousness like Adam Cole's speech in the middle of a goddamn donkey show that never ends. I would like it if it was on as part of some kind of legitimate promotion, I think. She's doing something.
Yeah, listen, I would like it as a recurring character on like a talk show. I think it's funny. I think it's really great performance art. It's entertaining. She has some clever lines. She has some really clever lines I find myself laughing about after the fact. It's not two different things I've seen where she talks about eating Mercedes out during the match. But, everything's in black and white. It is one of those things that from like the early days or pre-AEW that we always hated, the ironic wrestling fan, the fans that launched Orange Cassidy and people like that because, they like the idea that here's this unwrestler on this wrestling show. She's really talented and really entertaining. But I'm with you. I enjoy what she does, except for the fact that if I watch it during the wrestling, I'm like, this doesn't belong here.
Okada beat somebody. They didn't even mention his name. He can't even make a squash match entertaining for a minute. Remember in the old days when that's all you got on TV, but if somebody came like, oh, here comes Terry Funk, or here comes the Sheik, or Abdullah, or goddamn somebody that's just going to do their shit, and we get to see it, right? No, just blah. Blah for a minute match, got on the microphone, gargled a little unintelligible phrase and said bitch to Swerve. And then Swerve came out and called him a bitch. So what are you going to do about it, bitch? And he didn't do anything about it. He left. The end. The fuck with Okada? Goddamn, why don't they just mail him his check and let him send a goddamn cardboard stand-up in? It'd be more exciting. Are you ready for our main event?
Oh boy, we got there quick. Let's go to the main event.
Yeah, we did. Mark Briscoe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and the new champion Hangnail Page against Dick the Boozer, Claudio, and Wheeler Useless. It's the same shit they were doing. They just switched the belt. We're not going to get rid of these guys. We're not going to not have to look at Moxley every fucking week. They're going to do the same shit. The new world champion in a 6-man tag still can't be rid of the Boar Horseman. And they went for an extra run over this time because they didn't even ring the bell till 5 minutes to 10. They went to break 2 minutes later, came back at 10 o'clock. The crowd was deathly silent. They go 5 minutes, take another break. They're taking breaks in the overruns now. And finally, I don't know if this may be the stupidest thing that anybody's ever done in a wrestling ring, because it wasn't just one person going into business for themselves. Multiple people had to plan that this was going to happen and think that this was a thing you should do. Brian, I will tell you what they did, and then I will let you tell the people why that it's fucking stupid. Rather than me, the experienced veteran, I'll let you, the talented amateur. Claudio gets Page up on his shoulders for the doomsday device, like the Road Warriors.
Right.
Oh, Wheeler comes off the top rope with the clothesline for the doomsday device, like the Road Warriors, right? And he hits him with it. Guess what Page did? He flipped backwards, landed on his feet, no-sold the clothesline, and made a comeback. Followed by a backflip off the top to the floor, where then 5 other people did moves to each other, and then Page jackknifed Claudio 1, 2, 3. Brian, what's the stupid part of landing on your feet from the doomsday device and making a comeback?
I don't know.
If they would bother to stop and think for 1 second, they would realize that it's not the goddamn bump that is supposed to be the devastating thing about the doomsday device. It's the clothesline.
That's right.
You're being held up in the air, and a guy's flying off the top rope and clotheslining you, and he hits you so hard it turns you a flip and you land on the fucking ground. But apparently Wheeler is so weak he couldn't pull a greasy string out of a cat's ass, because he just clotheslined the guy, and the guy just backflipped, landed on his feet, and made a comeback. The wrestlers don't even know how wrestling works, because they're so indie-minded. They're more worried about, oh, I can do this, rather than, well, wouldn't it be stupid if you did? So then Moxley jumped on Page, and the heels got heat. The same shit they've been doing for months and months. And then the lights go out, and Darby Allin is in the balcony. And while Darby Allin is in the balcony and Moxley is staring with that stupefied look on his face, Page buckshots Moxley, even though they had just beaten him up just seconds before. And then everybody left. 15-minute overrun. They're doing the same shit they've been doing. Nothing has changed, not even the people. They just switched the fucking belt. They've learned nothing. Those are my thoughts.
Another banner episode of AEW Dynamite. What do you think about this as a episode coming off the pay-per-view?
Well, I didn't think much of it as an episode anywhere. Coming off of, going into, it did nothing. What has changed? What are we looking forward to? Osprey's gone. One of their big baby faces. Like to see what he's going to do. No. Fucking, all we saw was 6-man tags, 8-man tags, 4-ways with girls for $100,000. More multi-person gaga with the same people that we thought we might get rid of in favor of some new people that we don't see enough of.
Well,
I guess
AEW
Darby's
Dynamite.
back.
Darby's
back.
And Moxley appears to be petrified.
It's good to see Darby's back, especially after seeing his front.
All right, well, that was AEW Dynamite for July 16th, 2025.
What about the Arcadian Vanguard network of programming for this fine coming week of July whatever through whatever?
I got to come out of a dead dog dedication. What the fuck? Another great week on the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network. Get information on all the shows on Twitter at Superpodcast or on Facebook at facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. Of course, the wrestling news is there for you each and every day, each and every morning. Wake up and listen to the wrestling news, everything that happened, without opinion, without conjecture, without paywall. Just the facts, ma'am, or man. Whoever is listening to this, probably man. TheWrestlingNews.com directly, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts, look for Arcadia Vanguard's The Wrestling News. Want to make mention of Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam, a big look at 1978 WWF with some rare audio, not heard before on a podcast, I believe. That's the best way I could say it. McAdampod.com, look for Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam, wherever you find your favorite podcast. And of course, the 605 Super Podcast, The Mothership! Well, Swami's barking. I got him going. One of these days, folks, 605pod.com, available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. The Mothership.
One of these days, my friends, the ratings never end, and we're going to tell you before we go whether anybody watched AEW this past Wednesday night. Yeah,
we are. AEW Dynamite for July 16, 2025, Jim.
You got them numbers there, Brian?
I got the numbers here from 8 to 10.
Got some of them bunch of numbers over there.
You looking for some numbers? I can get you some numbers. 8 to 10:14 p.m. On average, watched by 588,000 viewers.
What the... You know, it seems like they're almost coordinating things now, that they end up with very similar numbers from week to week, almost like they're comparing notes, the viewers. Are you going to watch this week? Well, if you watch, I'll watch, but if you ain't going to watch, I ain't going to watch. And it either goes up together or down together. This is back down, isn't it? Weren't they up last week, or was that the week before?
Last week they were 637. And
that's what they go 630, then they go 580, then they go 630, then they go 580.
That's the cable audience now. I mean, I don't think you could expect, if you get anything in the 700s, it's amazing. That means you actually have some interest beyond your audience. But the audience now is between 640 and 550. So let's go to the quarterly hour breakdown. These were compiled by WrestleNomics. Quarter 1, 8 to 8:15 p.m. The Adam Page live promo, 747,000 viewers.
Okay, that does not bode well for the rest of the program. Maybe he ran them off early. I don't know. We'll see. But that's a decent starting point for lately. But they're gonna have to drop a ways to hit their average.
We go to quarter 2, 8:15, 8:30 p.m. Mascara Dorada versus Kyle Fletcher with picture-in-picture. 602,000 viewers.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, so people really don't like Adam Page. 145,000 people in the first 15 minutes after he opened his yap.
Well, we go to quarter 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. The Young Bucks and Don Callis backstage. An ad break, the MJF and Hurt Syndicate promo in the back, and the start of Hechicero, Josh Alexander, and the Young Bucks versus Bandito, Brody King, and Jet Speed. 556,000 viewers.
Good Lord. Okay. Well, there's the Page effect followed by the Buck effect, which was another 46,000 people. Now they're down 191,000, but now they're good. They're going to have to come back up to hit their average.
Well, we go to quarter 4, 8:45 to 9 p.m. The continuation of that match with Hechicero, Josh Alexander, the Young Bucks, and Bandito and Brody King, and Speedball and Kevin Knight with picture-in-picture, and an ad break. 555,000 viewers.
As long as the Buckaroos are on the screen, nobody's coming back. So we're at the top of the hour at 9 o'clock, quarter 5. They've dropped, as I said, almost 200,000 in the first hour. They've got to come back up, and they've got Edge coming up So this would seem to be the place where if they were going to get some people back, they would do it here.
Well, we go to quarter 5, the big 9 o'clock hour, 9 to 9:15 p.m. Cope and Stokeley Hathaway's live promo. It's really Cope's promo and confrontation with Stokeley. And Mark Briscoe's promo. 620,000 viewers.
There you go. We got 65,000 back. Now, at least we're up over 600,000 again, but what have they got to climb with? Very little.
Well, the little continues into quarter 6, 9:15 and 9:30 p.m. Tekla versus Queen Aminata versus Quiz Statlander.
Oh, Quiz Statlander!
Versus Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. She's in that too. Picture and an ad break. 582,000 viewers.
Yeah, that wasn't really anything to gain viewers or write home about. So now they're back down under 6. I think they may just limp on to the finish here.
Well, we go to quarter 7, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. The Toni Storm Athena live promo. Kip Sabian, Nick Wayne, and Mama Wayne in the back for a promo. And the Kazuchika Okada entrance and live promo. 563,000 viewers.
Still not the show low. That was quarter 3 and 4 with the Hardley boys involved, but they're getting there.
Well, we go to quarter 8, and I remind you, we have a 14-minute overrun, so that's basically another quarter right there. 9:45 to 10 p.m., Swerve Strickland and Okada's confrontation, an ad break, Adam Page, Mark Briscoe, and Powerhouse Hobbs versus Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler with picture-in-picture. 526,000 viewers.
Oof.
14-minute overrun, 10 to 10:14 p.m., match continues, and picture-in-picture, 536,000.
So 10,000 people that tuned in to see Impractical Jokers were like, what the fuck is this?
It's Moxley.
Good Lord.
It's
well,
Moxley.
They're back
That's
to
what it is.
Yeah, they're back to their old habits. They lost over 211,000 viewers, or almost 35% of their audience, I believe, judging from the math in my head, which is what they used to do. But they started with bigger numbers and finished with bigger numbers in those days. And the 4 lowest quarters out of 9 either featured Moxley or the Buckaroos. So, good to see they're making changes.
And the key demo, relatively steady. 221, 212, 203, 201, 219 for the big 9 o'clock hour. 203, 201, 195, 204. That's the only thing they're holding steady on, really. Everything else is, well, they're holding steady on exactly where everything falls apart and where everything comes back. I shouldn't say they're not holding steady with the overall number. But that's the facts, ma'am. AEW.